They told me not to check room 306, not because it was occupied, but because no one had ever been admitted there. And yet, every night at exactly 3:17 a.m., someone presses the call button. My name is Ahsan, and I started working the night shift at Rafah Memorial Hospital 3 weeks ago. It's an old building. Half of the lights flicker, and the other half don't work at all. Most patients are asleep by midnight, and by 2 a.m., the hospital feels less like a place for the living and more like something else entirely. That's when I first noticed it, a red light blinking on the nurse station panel. Room 306. At first, I thought it was just a system error, so I asked the senior nurse, Farah. She froze for a moment, then told me something I didn't expect. "Don't go there." I laughed it off, but she grabbed my wrist tightly and said, "Listen to me. If you see that light again, ignore it." I asked why, but she didn't answer. That same night, at exactly 3:17 a.m., the light came back, blinking slowly, deliberately. I stared at it for a full minute. The hallway was silent. No movement, no sound, just that light, blinking again and again. I picked up the intercom and said, "Room 306, do you need assistance?" At first, there was only static. Then, a faint voice whispered, "Help me." My blood ran cold, because room 306 was supposed to be empty. I shouldn't have gone, but I did. The hallway lights began flickering as I walked toward it, each step feeling heavier, like the air itself didn't want me there. Room 302 was normal. Room 303 was silent. Room 304 had its door slightly open. I looked inside. The bed was empty, but the sheets were wrinkled, like someone had just gotten up. Finally, I reached room 306. The door was closed, but the red call light above it was glowing. I reached for the handle, and that's when I noticed there was no name on the door, no patient chart, nothing. Just the number 306. I slowly opened it. The room was completely dark, but I could hear something, breathing, slow and uneven. I stepped inside and whispered, "Hello." Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind me, and the lights flickered on for just a second. In that brief moment, I saw someone on the bed. Tall. Too tall. Its body stretched unnaturally under the sheet, and its head slowly turned toward me. Then the lights went out again. I couldn't move. My body refused to respond. And then I felt it. Something cold, right behind me. A whisper brushed against my ear, soft but clear. "You're not supposed to be here." The lights came back on. The room was empty. No one on the bed. No sound. Nothing. I ran out, back to the nurse station, breathing heavily, my hands shaking. I looked at the panel again. Room 306 was no longer blinking. Instead, a new light turned on. Room 307. But here's the problem. There is no room 307 on that floor. I didn't sleep after that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I could hear that whisper again. "You're not supposed to be here." By morning, I convinced myself it was just stress, maybe exhaustion from the night shift. But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. The next night, I returned to the hospital, hoping everything would feel normal again. It didn't. The moment I stepped inside, something felt off. The air was heavier, colder, like the building itself was watching me. I avoided looking at the nurse station panel at first, pretending everything was fine. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. Slowly, I turned my head. And there it was. Room 307. The red light was already blinking. My heart started pounding. I called out to Farah, but she wasn't there. None of the staff were. The entire floor was silent, unnaturally silent, like time itself had stopped. I picked up the intercom with trembling hands. "Room 307, do you need assistance?" Silence, then static, and then a different voice. Not weak like before, not pleading. This one sounded calm, almost amused. You came back. I dropped the receiver. My hands were shaking uncontrollably now. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't in my head. Something was there, and it knew me. I told myself not to go. I remembered Farah's warning, the way she looked at me, like she already knew what would happen. But my feet started moving on their own. Step by step, I walked down the hallway again. Only this time, things were different. The doors were no longer numbered in order. 302 was gone. In its place, 308. 303 became 311. The hallway felt longer than before, stretching endlessly into darkness. And then I saw it. At the far end, a door. 307. The light above it flickered violently, casting shadows that moved in ways they shouldn't. I approached slowly, my breathing shallow, my chest tight. But before I could reach the handle, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. The door was already slightly open. From inside, I could hear voices, multiple voices, whispering, overlapping, like dozens of people trying to speak at once. I pushed the door open. The room wasn't a hospital room anymore. It was something else. The walls were stained, dark and decaying, like they had been abandoned for years. The bed was gone. In its place, a broken wheelchair sat in the center of the room, facing away from me. The whispers stopped instantly. Silence filled the room. Slowly, the wheelchair began to move. It turned toward me, inch by inch, until I could see what was sitting in it. And that's when I realized it wasn't just one thing. It was many. Faces, layered on top of each other, twisting, shifting, all staring directly at me. Some were crying, some were smiling, some were screaming without sound. I stumbled back, unable to process what I was seeing, and then all the voices spoke at once. "You opened the wrong door." The lights exploded. Everything went black. When I woke up, I was lying on the hospital floor, back near the nurse station. The lights were normal again. The hallway was quiet. Everything looked normal. I slowly stood up, my body aching, my mind spinning. I looked at the panel one last time. No blinking lights. No room 306. No room 307. Just empty slots. I almost convinced myself it was over, until I noticed something carved into the desk. It wasn't there before. Rough, deep scratches, like someone had used their nails. A message. 3 simple words. "You are next."